The entertainment world has been set ablaze, and the shockwaves are impossible to ignore. When South African music critic and outspoken personality Nota Baloyi dropped the bombshell statement, "Kendrick Lamar is not the superstar, but Drake is," the internet went into meltdown. Fans are outraged, timelines are flooded with debates, and industry insiders are whispering about the fallout behind closed doors. What was meant to be just another hot take has now spiraled into a global firestorm of accusations, betrayals, and hidden truths. Because this isn't just about music. No, this is about pride, loyalty, and the messy politics of fame. Rumors are swirling that Kendrick's camp feels disrespected, that Drake's inner circle is already celebrating, and that Nota might have lit a fuse he cannot control. Behind the glamorous award shows and the flashing lights, there's tension, real tension, that threatens to expose cracks in the image of two of hip-hop's biggest names. And tonight, we're pulling back the curtain. What's really happening? In the camps of Drake and Kendrick, who's standing by Nota's words and who's ready to go to war over them? Buckle up, because this story is wilder than anyone imagined. When Nota Baloyi first made the explosive claim that Kendrick Lamar is not the superstar but Drake is, fans thought it was just another wild statement from a critic known for stirring the pot. But within hours, the internet caught fire. Comments flooded every platform, from YouTube to Twitter to Instagram. Some fans were laughing, others were furious, and a few whispered that Nota might actually be exposing something deeper behind. The scenes, the tension was palpable. Kendrick's camp felt blindsided. According to insiders, his closest associates were pacing in studios, phones buzzing with calls from journalists asking for a response. One source described the atmosphere as icy, saying you could feel the anger in the room. It wasn't just about what Nota said, it was about the disrespect. Kendrick has worked for decades to build his legacy, and now someone is questioning whether he's even the superstar. But while Kendrick's team simmered in frustration, Drake's circle reportedly reacted very differently. One insider close to the OVO camp revealed that the mood was more celebratory than defensive. They were smiling, they were nodding, they were saying, "Finally, someone said it out loud," the source claimed. Drake himself, although quiet publicly, was rumored to have made a cryptic comment in private. Sometimes the truth sounds like hate when you're not ready to hear it. The clash of emotions between the two camps quickly spilled into the public. Fans online took sides, creating hashtags like #Kendrick is the superstar and #Drake is the king. YouTube reaction videos started popping up with influencers screaming into their cameras, arguing fiercely about who truly holds the crown of hip-hop. Some called Nota brave, others branded him reckless, and a few accused him of deliberately trying to pit two giants against each other for clout. And then came the first shocking twist. A leaked audio clip began circulating online, supposedly recorded at a private industry party in Los Angeles. In the clip, a voice that sounded eerily similar to Kendrick's could be heard saying, "They can give Drake all the hits, but they can't give him the respect. Respect is earned." Whether the audio was real or fabricated didn't matter. Damage was done. Within minutes, the clip went viral, and fans were convinced Kendrick had finally broken his silence with a subtle but devastating jab at Drake, the OVO camp. However, was quick to dismiss the clip as fake. One of Drake's close friends went on Instagram Live saying, "Man, y'all really believe that? Kendrick ain't stupid enough to record himself talking like that? K? This is just the internet doing what it always does, trying to bring Drake down." But the denial didn't stop the wave of drama. Fans were dissecting every syllable, slowing down the clip, comparing voice tones, and convincing themselves it was authentic. In the middle of all this chaos stood Nota Baloyi, who, instead of backing down, doubled down. In a fiery podcast appearance, he declared, "I said what I said. Kendrick is not the superstar. He is respected, yes, but respect and superstardom are not the same. Drake is everywhere. Drake is the culture." People sing his lyrics at weddings, at parties, and clubs. Kendrick is a poet, but Drake is the superstar. If that truth hurts, so be it. The boldness of Nota's words only poured gasoline on the fire. Celebrities started weighing in. A well-known R&B singer tweeted, "Nota got a point. Drake runs the charts, but Kendrick runs the soul." Another artist chimed in, "Hip-hop is not just about charts, it's about impact. Don't confuse fame with greatness." Soon, the entertainment industry itself was divided, with camps forming in every corner. Family drama also began to surface. A cousin of Kendrick, in a since-deleted Facebook post, lashed out at Nota directly, writing, "You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the sacrifices Kendrick made, the battles he fought, the pressure he carried for the culture. Don't speak on my family like you know the truth." The post was deleted quickly, but screenshots had already spread, and fans were buzzing about the possibility of deeper personal tensions boiling behind the scenes in Drake's world. The narrative was unfolding differently. Rumors began to swirl that Drake's own mother had quietly told friends. She was relieved that someone finally gave Drake his flowers without questioning his legitimacy. According to whispers, she had often felt that critics unfairly dismissed Drake as too commercial compared to Kendrick. And Nota's statement was, in her eyes, a vindication of Drake's place at the top, and just when fans thought the drama couldn't escalate any further. A shocking accusation hit the blogs. An anonymous source claimed that members from Kendrick's circle were planning a response track. Not from Kendrick himself, but from an artist in his label family. The alleged goal was to throw subtle shade at Drake without forcing Kendrick to get directly involved. This revelation sent the fan base into a frenzy, with people asking, was Kendrick too above it all to respond? Or was he quietly orchestrating a bigger plan behind the curtains? As the world debated, old interviews began resurfacing. In one clip from years ago, Drake had praised Kendrick, calling him one of the greatest voices of our generation. In another, Kendrick had diplomatically acknowledged Drake's dominance on the charts, but questioned whether numbers always tell the full story. Fans began connecting the dots, suggesting this rivalry wasn't new, it had just been bubbling under the surface, waiting for someone like Nota to drag it back into the spotlight. By now, emotions were running dangerously high. Fans weren't just debating anymore, they were fighting. Twitter threads turned toxic, Instagram comments became battlefields, and even in real life, people reported arguments breaking out at parties over who truly deserved the crown. One college student went viral after sharing a story of nearly losing a friendship because of a heated argument over the controversy. "We literally stopped talking for 3 days," she wrote, "because she said Drake is just a pop star while Kendrick is a prophet. I couldn't believe how serious it got." And through all of this, the silence from Kendrick himself was deafening. Every tweet he didn't post, every story he didn't upload became an event. Fans speculated endlessly about what his next move would be. Was he ignoring the drama because he felt it was beneath him? Was he strategizing? Or was the leaked audio clip the only response anyone would get? The tension reached a boiling point during a high-profile music awards show where both Drake and Kendrick were expected to appear. Paparazzi cameras flashed, reporters screamed questions, and the red carpet turned into a circus. Whispers spread that Drake's team had requested not to be seated anywhere near Kendrick's crew. Fans watching the livestream noticed every glance, every body language cue, interpreting it as signs of war. Kendrick walked in with a serious expression, barely acknowledging the cameras, while Drake, ever the showman, smiled, laughed, and looked as if he was carrying the weight of victory on his shoulders. The award show ended without direct confrontation. But backstage rumors told a different story. According to one witness, Kendrick's manager and a member of Drake's entourage exchanged heated words near the dressing rooms, with security forced to intervene before things got out of hand. Although no footage leaked, the whispers of a near-physical altercation sent shockwaves across social media as fans scrambled to process the drama. Nota once again entered the spotlight, claiming that he had sources confirming Drake was unbothered, while Kendrick was privately furious. Whether this was true or simply Nota fanning the flames, nobody knew for sure. But what was undeniable was that the narrative had shifted. It was no longer just about music. It was about pride, perception, and the dangerous line between artistry and superstardom. And as the world held its breath, waiting for the next chapter, one thing became clear: this was no longer a debate. This was war, and everyone, from fans to family to industry insiders, was caught in the crossfire. The morning after the award show, the entertainment world was in chaos. Social media was still buzzing about the rumored backstage altercation, with fans demanding answers. Some claimed they had seen security rushing through the corridors. Others swore they heard shouting from behind closed doors. The hashtag Kendrick vs Drake began trending worldwide, eclipsing even the award winners themselves in Kendrick's camp. Frustration was reaching a boiling point. One insider described the atmosphere as tense and suffocating. It's not just about Nota anymore. The insider revealed it's about respect. Kendrick's people feel like Drake is winning in the court of public opinion, and that's dangerous. It's like every silence from Kendrick is being twisted as weakness, when really he's just choosing his battles. Meanwhile, in Drake's circle, the vibe couldn't have been more different. The crew was reportedly celebrating at a private after-party in Los Angeles. Laughter, champagne, and toasts filled the air. One attendee later leaked a detail that sent fans into a frenzy. Apparently, Drake raised a glass and said, "To superstardom, though kind you can't fake, though subtle." Fans interpreted it as a pointed jab aimed squarely at Kendrick. The drama escalated when a celebrity gossip blogger released exclusive footage from inside the after-party. The shaky video showed Drake on stage with a microphone, hyping up the crowd, while one of his friends shouted, "Drake runs the world." The crowd cheered, and Drake smiled, adding, "They know what it is," though he never mentioned Kendrick by name. The implication was clear enough to keep the internet buzzing for days. But Kendrick's camp wasn't staying quiet anymore. Days later, an unexpected twist shook the internet. A mysterious snippet of music surfaced online, uploaded anonymously to SoundCloud. The track was less than a minute long, but the lyrics hinted at betrayal, fake crowns, and the emptiness of fame without substance. Fans immediately speculated it was Kendrick, though there was no official confirmation. One lyric that stood out was, "A king without roots is just a shadow on stage." The snippet spread like wildfire, with fans dissecting every line and debating whether it was a direct response to Drake. The OVO camp reacted quickly, with one of Drake's producers going live on Instagram and dismissing the snippet as fan fiction. He claimed the track was fake, probably generated by someone trying to stir the pot. But the denial only fueled the speculation. Fans pointed to the cadence, the flow, the tone of voice, insisting it had to be Kendrick. Twitter was ablaze with threads titled, "Why This Is 100% Kendrick and Why Drake Should Be Worried." At this point, celebrities who had been watching from the sidelines began to take sides more openly. A legendary hip-hop figure posted a cryptic message. On Instagram, "Respect doesn't fade, but popularity does. Remember that?" Fans saw it as a clear endorsement of Kendrick. On the other side, a chart-topping pop star tweeted, "Superstars move numbers, and that's the truth." No shade, just facts, which many interpreted as a nod to Drake. The lines were being drawn and the music industry was splitting into factions. Family drama resurfaced as well. Kendrick's cousin, who had previously lashed out at Nota, was spotted in a tense phone call outside a studio in Compton. Paparazzi caught the moment, and lip readers claimed she was saying, "They're trying to erase him." Fans speculated she was referring to the way Drake's narrative seemed to be dominating headlines, overshadowing Kendrick's silence. Meanwhile, rumors leaked that Drake's father had told friends at a dinner party that Kendrick was too serious to ever win the people's love. Whether true or not, the comments spread quickly, and fans saw it as yet another jab. As tensions grew, fans began turning their attention back to Nota himself. Why had he made this statement in the first place? What was his motive? During an interview on a popular South African talk show, Nota looked straight into the camera and said, "I didn't create this war, I just told the truth." The fact that the industry is shaking shows that, deep down, they already knew. His calm delivery sent chills down the spines of viewers, as if he knew more than he was saying. But then came the most shocking twist yet. A leaked email, allegedly from someone inside a major record label, suggested that Nota's comment might not have been random at all. The email hinted at a calculated campaign to reignite the Drake versus Kendrick rivalry in order to boost streaming numbers for both artists. The revelation shook fans to their core. Was this entire feud real, or was it a carefully orchestrated strategy designed to manipulate the public? The possibility of a staged rivalry divided the fan base even further. Some felt betrayed, accusing both Drake and Kendrick of playing with their emotions. Others argued that even if it was staged, the tension still felt real, because the pride of the artists involved couldn't be faked. One fan tweeted, "Even if the labels set it up, the egos are too big for this to just be business. Somebody's gonna snap for real." The tension continued to mount when Kendrick was spotted leaving a studio in Los Angeles late at night. Paparazzi shouted questions about the feud, but Kendrick ignored them, his face unreadable. Fans speculated he was working on a full response track, one that could shift the entire narrative. At the same time, Drake posted a photo on Instagram, casually lounging by a pool with the caption, "Let them talk." The post racked up millions of likes within hours, with fans interpreting it as proof that Drake was unbothered, even amused, by the ongoing storm. Emotions ran high among fans. Some begged Kendrick to respond. Others begged him not to stoop to Drake's level. YouTube reactors filmed themselves passionately arguing, with one nearly in tears, saying, "If Kendrick doesn't answer this, they'll bury him in public perception. He can't let this slide." Another shouted, "Drake already won because look who's in control of the narrative. And Drake is smiling, and Drake is smiling." The tension reached a new height when rumors spread that Drake and Kendrick were both scheduled to headline the same upcoming music festival. Fans immediately began speculating about what would happen if the two crossed paths on stage. Would there be an olive branch? Would there be shade? Or would the feud explode in front of thousands of screaming fans and millions watching online? The organizers of the festival were reportedly panicking behind the scenes, fearing the drama might overshadow the entire event. Security measures were allegedly doubled, and one insider claimed there were serious conversations about adjusting the schedule so Drake and Kendrick would not overlap. But fans didn't want separation. They wanted confrontation. Ticket sales spiked as people scrambled to witness history, sensing that something unforgettable was about to happen. As the date of the festival drew closer, rumors of secret rehearsals leaked online. Some claimed Kendrick was preparing a powerful, symbolic performance that would address the controversy head-on. Others insisted Drake had something planned, possibly a surprise guest appearance to make a statement. Fans could barely contain their excitement, speculating endlessly about who would outshine who. And then, in a stunning development, Nota himself announced he would be flying to the United States to attend the festival. In an Instagram post, he wrote, "If I started this fire, I'm going to be there to see how it ends." The comment instantly went viral, with fans joking that Nota had officially become the villain of the story, the man pulling the strings behind the scenes. But others warned that his presence could escalate the tension even further, possibly leading to chaos at the event. The stage was set. The festival was days away. The world was watching, and both Drake and Kendrick were under immense pressure. To deliver, one wrong move could tip the balance. One right move could crown a king. Everyone knew something big was coming. But no one knew just how explosive it would be. And as the countdown began, the drama was no longer confined to blogs, podcasts, and social media. It had become a global spectacle, and the world was holding its breath for what would happen next. The night of the festival arrived, and the energy was electric. Thousands of fans packed into the venue, waving signs, chanting, and arguing in the crowd about who would come out on top. Outside, reporters lined the barricades, desperately trying to catch a glimpse of Kendrick or Drake arriving. Helicopters buzzed overhead, capturing live shots for news outlets that were treating the event less like a concert and more like a world championship fight. Backstage, tension was boiling over. Kendrick's team moved with a quiet intensity, whispering, checking sound systems and avoiding eye contact with anyone outside their circle. One insider described the scene as like a family preparing for battle. Meanwhile, in the other wing of the arena, Drake's crew was loud, laughing, almost cocky. One witness said they looked like they'd already won before even stepping on stage. The drama ignited when Drake's performance began. Dressed in all white, bathed in bright lights, he stepped onto the stage as the crowd erupted. He opened with one of his biggest hits, and the audience screamed every lyric word for word. Halfway through the set, Drake paused, looking directly into the camera, and said, "They can talk, they can whisper, they can doubt. But superstars don't need to explain themselves." The crowd went wild, interpreting it as a direct response to the Kendrick rumors. But that wasn't the shocking part. What really set the internet ablaze was when Drake brought out a surprise. Guessed one of the industry's most respected producers, a figure long associated with Kendrick. The producer stepped on stage, embraced Drake, and shouted, "This is where the culture lives." Fans gasped, shocked at what seemed like a betrayal. Twitter exploded with comments like, "How could he do Kendrick like that?" And this is the ultimate backstab. Kendrick's camp reportedly erupted backstage. Sources claimed voices were raised, fists slammed on tables, and arguments broke out among his crew. One person allegedly stormed out of the room shouting, "They're trying to erase everything we built." Fans didn't see this chaos, but word of it leaked quickly, only adding more gasoline to the fire. Kendrick's turn came later that night. As the lights dimmed, the arena fell silent. A single spotlight hit the stage, and Kendrick appeared, wearing all black, his face serious, almost unreadable. Unlike Drake, who had entered with fireworks and flashing lights, Kendrick walked out, quietly letting the silence speak for him. And then the music began. It wasn't one of his hits. Instead, Kendrick performed a brand new piece, raw and emotional, filled with biting metaphors that fans immediately interpreted as shots at Drake. One line stood out above all. "You can dance in the light, but the shadows still know your name." The crowd roared, some in shock, others in pure excitement. Social media exploded within seconds, with fans screaming that Kendrick had finally responded. But the drama didn't end there. Halfway through his performance, Kendrick paused, looked straight into the audience, and said in a calm, deliberate voice, "They think superstardom is sold at the counter. I don't need to sell anything to know who I am." The crowd erupted, half cheering, half booing, the division clear as day. Backstage, things were spiraling. Nota Baloyi, who had flown in for the festival, was spotted grinning ear to ear in the VIP section. Paparazzi caught him whispering to someone, "This is history," and I lit the match. Fans online branded him the puppet master, the instigator, who had turned a simple statement into a full-blown war. Some even began calling him the villain of hip-hop. As Kendrick finished his set, the atmosphere in the arena was tense, almost dangerous. Fans loyal to Drake and fans loyal to Kendrick clashed in the crowd, arguing, shouting, some even coming close to physical fights before security intervened. The drama on stage was now spilling into the audience, proving that this feud wasn't just entertainment anymore, it was personal for everyone involved. After the festival, the internet exploded with reactions. Clips of Drake's smug grin went viral. Snippets of Kendrick's cryptic performance racked up millions of views. Analysts, bloggers, and influencers posted hour-long breakdowns of every lyric, every gesture, every expression. The debate grew, fiercer than ever. Did Drake prove his superstardom? Or did Kendrick prove his depth? And then came a shocking development. The very next day, Drake posted a short video on Instagram stories. In it, he was sitting in a studio, nodding to a beat. And on the screen behind him was a phrase written in bold letters: "Superstars answer with music." Fans went into overdrive, convinced that Drake was preparing a direct diss track aimed at Kendrick. Some predicted it would drop within days. Others argued he was bluffing to keep the spotlight. Kendrick's single quotes camp, however, moved differently. Insiders revealed he had canceled several scheduled appearances, retreating into what they described as a bunker mentality. One associate claimed he's not hiding, he's creating. He's about to remind the world why he's respected. Fans began speculating about a full-scale Project a Surprise album. Perhaps that could change the narrative entirely. But the drama took another turn when a leaked voicemail began circulating online. The recording, allegedly from a phone belonging to someone in Drake's circle, captured a heated argument. A voice, believed to be Drake's, shouted, "They'll never love him the way they love me. They can't. I'm everywhere." Whether authentic or not, the clip went viral instantly, with fans split over whether it was proof of Drake's arrogance or just another fake leak, as if that wasn't enough. Rumors emerged that members of Kendrick's extended family were urging him to step away from the feud entirely. One relative reportedly told him, "This isn't worth it. They want to drag you down into the mud. You're bigger than this." But Kendrick's closest friends felt differently, insisting that silence would look like defeat. The family was divided, and the pressure on Kendrick was mounting. Meanwhile, Nota was basking in the chaos. He went live on Instagram, smirking into the camera, and said, "Look at the world right now. They're fighting because I told the truth. The truth makes people uncomfortable, but it always comes out." His words infuriated Kendrick's fans, who accused him of clout chasing. But at the same time, others admitted he had single-handedly created one of the biggest pop culture events of the decade. By the end of the week, the feud had become impossible. To ignore news outlets that usually ignored hip-hop were covering it like a political scandal. Talk shows were inviting experts to analyze the drama. Even athletes and politicians were weighing in with their opinions. One NBA star tweeted, "Drake got the numbers, but Kendrick got the respect. Both legends." Another responded, "Respect don't pay bills, superstardom does." And just when fans thought things couldn't escalate any further, an anonymous hacker group released what they claimed were private messages between industry executives. The messages hinted at backroom conversations about how to maximize profits from the Drake and Kendrick feud, confirming many fans' suspicions that the industry was exploiting the drama. Yet, hidden within the leaks was something far more explosive, a suggestion that Kendrick and Drake had been pressured for years to avoid releasing music too close to each other, to prevent one from overshadowing the other. The revelation shocked fans, fueling conspiracy theories. Some began to question if the rivalry had been artificially manufactured all along, manipulated by powerful executives for profit. Others argued that, regardless of its origins, the pride and ego involved had now made it real. As one fan wrote, "This might have started as business, but it's personal now. Way too personal." And so the world waited breathless for what would come next. Would Drake release the rumored diss track? Would Kendrick break his silence with a full project? Or would the feud implode under the weight of its own drama? Everyone had their theories, but no one knew for sure. What was certain was that the storm was far from over. and the next move from either artist could change the course of hip-hop history. Forever, the world was now watching every move with microscopic intensity. Days after the hacker leaks shook the internet, the tension between Drake and Kendrick had turned into more than a foodie, had become a cultural obsession. Entire podcasts were dedicated to decoding the latest rumors. Late-night hosts cracked jokes about Nota Baloyi being the real winner of hip-hop 2025. Fans across the globe weren't just consuming the drama. They were living it, fighting in comment sections as if the outcome would personally affect their lives. And then, without warning, Drake dropped a track. It wasn't on streaming platforms, it wasn't announced, simply appeared on his official SoundCloud page at midnight, titled The Superstar. The internet nearly broke. Within minutes, the track was shared everywhere, dissected, replayed, and argued over. The lyrics were scathing. Though Drake never mentioned Kendrick by name, the jabs were unmistakable. One line went, "You write verses for the thinkers, I write anthems for the world." Another declared, "Legends hide in silence, superstars take the stage." The tone was confident, smug, almost mocking. Fans described the song as both a victory lap and a warning shot. Kendrick's camp, however, was reportedly furious. Insiders claimed phones were ringing non-stop through the night, with heated conversations about how to respond. One source close to Kendrick revealed there were people begging him to drop something immediately, but he refused. He just sat there, calm, listening, nodding. The silence made everyone else more nervous. The fans, meanwhile, were divided. Once again, Drake's supporters flooded social media, declaring the battle over, game, set, match. One tweet read, "Drake ended it with a single track." Kendrick's fans countered that Drake's lyrics were shallow, that he was bragging about popularity while avoiding true artistry. Debates raged on until sunrise, with no clear winner. But then came the moment no one expected. 3 nights later, without warning, Kendrick released a short film on YouTube titled The Poet. The video opened with a black screen and the sound of a heartbeat, slow and steady. When the visuals appeared, Kendrick was sitting alone in a dimly lit room, surrounded by scattered notebooks. He spoke more than he rapped, delivering a spoken word piece that felt like both confession and warning. "They cheer for the fireworks," said softly. "But fireworks fade. Fireworks fade. The fire in the soul burns longer." His words were haunting, poetic, layered with meaning. Halfway through the film, he delivered the line that sent chills across the internet. "A superstar shines in the sky. A prophet lights the way in the dark." Fans erupted, calling it the most powerful response possible, not with aggression, but with depth. Drake's single quotes as camp, however, dismissed it as pretentious. One of his close associates tweeted, "Bro turned a rap battle into a TED Talk. We not moved." Drake himself posted a cryptic photo of himself holding a lighter in the dark, captioned, "Even a flame can shine." Fans interpreted it as a mockery of Kendrick's metaphor. Another jab and an increasingly layered back and forth. But the feud was no longer confined to the artists. Family and friends were now being dragged deeper into the storm. Reports surfaced that Kendrick's wife had privately asked him to walk away from the drama, worried about the toll it was taking on his mental health. A friend of Drake allegedly confided that Drake's inner circle feared he was becoming too obsessed with winning the narrative, checking social media compulsively to see if people thought he had the upper hand. The stakes grew higher when an anonymous industry insider leaked that both Drake and Kendrick had been offered millions by streaming platforms to drop exclusive tracks directly in response to each other. The business side of the feud was becoming clearer. Labels, platforms, and promoters were profiting enormously from the chaos. This revelation left fans conflicted. Were their heroes fighting for pride or just for money? Emotions boiled over. Yet again during a surprise appearance by Nota Baloyi on a major American radio show. Nota, never one to hold back, leaned into his role as villain. "I told you from day one," he said. "Kendrick is respected, but Drake is the superstar. Look at the numbers, look at the headlines. Who's everyone talking about? Drake. Kendrick can write poems, but superstars run the world. Case closed." The audience gasped. The host tried to interrupt, but Nota continued. And the craziest part is, Kendrick knows it. That's why he's hiding behind metaphors instead of music. Fans were livid. Kendrick's supporters flooded the station's phone lines, demanding they cut Nota off. Drake's fans cheered, praising him for speaking the uncomfortable truth. Overnight, Nota became more polarizing than ever, hated by some, worshipped by others. Meanwhile, whispers of betrayal were spreading inside Kendrick's camp. Rumors suggested that someone close to him had been leaking information to Drake's team, feeding them details about his recording sessions and planned responses. The betrayal, if true, was devastating, adding another layer of paranoia and distrust to an already tense situation. Insiders claimed Kendrick confronted his inner circle, demanding loyalty, while his friends struggled to convince him they weren't the source of the leaks. The tension reached its absolute peak when both artists were scheduled to appear at a high-profile charity gala in New York City. Fans speculated endlessly about whether they would interact. Cameras followed their every move. Drake arrived first, smiling, shaking hands, dressed in an immaculate suit. Kendrick arrived later, quieter, reserved, his expression unreadable. The room seemed to freeze as the two men were briefly in the same space. And then it happened. In front of cameras, Drake approached Kendrick, extended his hand and said with a smirk, "Superstars lead by example." Kendrick paused, stared at him for a long moment, then shook his head slightly and walked away without a word. Gasps filled the room. The clip went viral instantly, racking up millions of views in hours. Fans declared it the coldest rejection. In music history, after the gala, rumors swirled that Kendrick had gone straight to the studio, while Drake spent the night celebrating with friends. Speculation was at an all-time high. Was Kendrick preparing the response of a lifetime? Or was his silence itself the message? Would Drake double down with another diss track? Or had he already claimed victory? As the dust settled, one thing became undeniable. This was no longer about Nota's comment. It was no longer about just music either. It had become a cultural war, one that divided fans, families, and the entire industry. Everyone was waiting for the next move, but no one knew what it would be. The feud had started with a single statement: Kendrick. Lamar is not the superstar, but Drake is. But it had spiraled into something much larger, something no one could control. And with every passing day, the stakes only grew higher. The world was left wondering, would there ever be resolution, or was this battle destined to burn forever? The story was far from over. In fact, it felt like the most explosive chapter was still to come, and so here we are, standing at the edge of a storm that shows no signs of calming down. What started as a single statement from Nota Baloyi has spiraled into one of the most explosive cultural moments in recent memory. Kendrick Lamar, the poet, the respected craftsman, standing tall in silence and symbolism. Drake, the chart-topping superstar, loud, confident, and unafraid to remind the world of his dominance. And in the middle of it all, Nota himself, playing. The villain smiling as the fire he lit continues to burn. The family drama, the betrayals, the leaks, the cryptic performances, and the near confrontations have turned this story into more than just music, has become a battle of legacies. Fans are left divided, friendships are being tested, and the industry is scrambling to keep up with the tidal wave of emotion. This feud has unleashed, but the question remains, what happens next? Will Drake cement his crown with another diss track? Will Kendrick finally step forward with a full project that silences all doubt? Or will the two men, both giants in their own right, allow their pride to drag them into a conflict with no way out? We may not have the answers right now, but one thing is certain: this saga is far from over. And you, the fans, are the heartbeat of this story. So tell us, whose side are you on? Do you believe Drake truly embodies superstardom? Or does Kendrick's depth and respect make him the greater figure? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because we want to hear every perspective. Don't forget to like this video if you've been hooked by the drama. Subscribe to stay updated on every shocking twist and hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment of the chaos. This isn't just entertainment, this is history unfolding before our eyes, and you're part of it.